this week's Team Kentucky update. This week, we're going to start with an update on the weather, since we have just gotten through what could have been a very dangerous weather system, but we are now in what's going to be at least another 3 days of significant rain, where we're worried we could have both flash flooding and more widespread flooding. So last night was rough for many. I was up twice with my kids down in the basement with the sirens coming off here in Franklin County. I know we had tornadoes touch down a number of places in Kentucky, including in McCracken County, where the airport was hit and sustained damage, as well as in Jefferson County, where a number of commercial buildings sustained some damage. Thankfully, we do not have any reported fatalities as of today, and only a few injuries, with a family injured in flying debris in Ballard County. Those are the only known injuries at the moment. One injury to that family was more significant than the others. I'm awaiting an update on that individual. I want to thank everyone who worked throughout the night as we saw tornado warning after tornado warning. That's everyone from Kentucky Emergency Management to all of the meteorologists that spent virtually all night long tracking it, trying to give us the very best indications of when we needed to seek shelter. We're thankful that everyone is safe, but the next thing we have to do is to make sure we stay safe. We've got to make good decisions over these next couple of days. The February flooding that we really just got through, that we are still cleaning up and rebuilding from, showed us that especially when we have this much rain, it's the decisions about when to get out, about what to drive through, when to go stay with someone else, that can be the difference between life and death. So over these next couple of days, know that we could have both flash flooding and more widespread flooding, especially in western and central Kentucky, and everybody make good decisions about, again, whether going to stay with friends or turning around that car and not driving through water. Emergency management remains activated and is ramping up to assist in any issues. Swiftwater teams are activated, including assistance that we're getting from the state of Vermont. And our Kentucky National Guard is ramping up to assist. We will get through this if everyone takes the rising and standing water seriously. Don't drive through roadways you cannot see. It's how we lost too many people in the past. It's not worth it. Just turn around. And I want to remind everyone, right now is not the time to drive around to look at damage. This causes traffic jams that can hinder response for cleanup efforts. I'm going to go through slides about what we're going to see the next couple of days, and none of it is as severe as what came through last night, but it's the accumulation of what we could see in the next several days, though Friday is looking better than originally anticipated, but it's just all of it together and what it can cause. All right, so this is for today. We are going to have waves of storms and of showers coming through, and while every hazard is still on the table, while there's still a possibility of some tornadoes, we've had a couple of watches and warnings that are very local today. The hazards are much less than yesterday. Remember, this is a 1 and a 2, a marginal and a slight risk of severe weather. Yesterday, we were 5, 4, and 3 throughout the state, but still, this is the type of forecast we at least need to be cognizant of, and know that severe weather can come and hit us really at any time. We're likely to get more this afternoon and this evening. We've had a little bit of a break, at least here in central Kentucky at the moment. Let's move to the next one. Okay, so that is the last one was Thursday. Today, this is tomorrow, Friday. This looks better than what it did yesterday or the day before. It looks like the worst of Friday may miss us. But again, we can have some additional waves of storms that's going to ride along a stalled cold front. We could have hail and gusty winds, but again, the actual threats at any given moment, in any given instant, may be less than last night. But as the rain continues, you got to watch that water rising. You got to watch where it's pooling on the roadways or if it's getting closer to your house, and recognize that especially as we go through the day after this and show you total amounts of rainfall, we're going to have some roads covered in parts of Kentucky probably for days, and you're not going to be able to drive through them, and it'd be a big mistake to try. Okay, so Thursday, then you saw Friday, and now Saturday. So Saturday's forecast is a little worse than Friday. Again, we've got an enhanced risk of 2 across much of the Commonwealth. So we're expecting more storms that day. Again, you can have the large hail and strong gusty winds. These forecasts are changing as the days go by, but what you should take away is rain this afternoon and this evening. Some can be significant and severe. A chance for them tomorrow, but less. And then Saturday, it looks like we're going to have a lot of rain that, again, is going to accumulate. Let's go to the next one. All right. This is just the additional rain we expect on top of what we got last night, which was significant in some places. What that means is in Western Kentucky, between last night and the end of Saturday, you could have a foot of rain that came in just those series of days. And what that means is flash flooding is possible. That's that very quick flooding when a whole lot of water comes down. That sometimes gets people in their homes. And then widespread river flooding. And that's what oftentimes covers roads for a period of time and can really be life-threatening. It's a lot of rain right now. It looks like the East is primarily getting spared with everything they've been through. That's really important. But this is some of the most rain we've seen in a short period of time in Western Kentucky and in Central Kentucky for a long time. And remember, it's just going to grow. It's just going to accumulate on top of itself. Let's go to the next one. This is the possibilities for major flooding with today and Friday. Again, Friday looks better, but when you actually move from what are the storms going to be like to how dangerous the flooding is, we're back to that worst number 5, that pinkish color. And then the reddish color being just one step down. That's a level we're normally pretty worried about. So everybody needs to be really, really cognizant of flooding. If we got through one of the worst forecasts for tornadoes we've seen in a while, this is one of the worst for flooding. We just want to make sure we keep everybody safe. Do we have any more? Okay, so this is Saturday. Again, what you see is significant. And then Sunday, it all really tapers off early in the morning. But by Sunday, especially the riverbank flooding with just the amount of rain that we're going to have had, the rivers are likely still going to be rising. Most of Kentucky's major rivers are looking at a potential flooding event, depending on the amount of rain we get now through the end of the weekend. Just a couple reminders from the National Weather Service, which is a critical organization that we desperately need to be strong and should not be cutting employees from because of events just like this. They are our lifeline. They are the people that let us know ahead of time. They work with all of our TV stations to help make sure that everybody is spreading that same message. And then flooding at night. A lot of this rain is coming at night. You can't see the road. You can't see the level of flooding. This is something that we're worried about, not just in Kentucky, but all over the country. All right, as an update from emergency management, as of 9:15 this morning, we had 32,604 power outages. The power hadn't been hit as hard as it has in some previous weather systems. Water Lifeline is stable at this time. We've got 86 National Guard soldiers and airmen that are actively supporting communities with emergency management. 59 of those are still in the east from the February flooding, and 27 are ready to support pending this morning's assessments. 2 boat crews from the 123rd Airlift Wing Special Tactics Squadron are staged at the Wendell H. Ford Regional Training Center. They are ready as needed, and crews from aviation are standing by with our Blackhawks with hoist capabilities. Our hoist capabilities are going to be improved by the end of today. They probably won't be needed until at least tomorrow or through the weekend. They're needed the most, especially when we see the widespread riverbank flooding. KSP response. Their telecommunicators just last night received 3,464 calls for service. The highest call volume was out of Post 1 in Mayfield, Post 3 in Bowling Green, and Post 6 in Dry Ridge. Yesterday evening on Interstate 24 in Lyon County, a semi flipped over due to high winds, causing the interstate to be blocked for several hours. Troopers responded, but thankfully no fatalities from that crash. State police also responded to the Barkley Regional Airport in Paducah, which suffered significant damage, and they did a number of wellness checks and rescued several individuals trapped in their homes and in their vehicles, as well as responding to road closures due to high water. State highway crews worked overnight and are still working in just about every county, clearing trees and debris and assisting utility crews. Brief closures of I-24 last night. Again, that was because of the high wind. At least 25 state highways are blocked by floodwater, many in western Kentucky, but they're scattered across the Commonwealth. Expect this number to rise as the rain continues. Crews will remain on high alert and ask you to too. Please, if you are passing a crew, slow down. You know, I just signed a bill in the last couple of days where we're going to be able to use electronic means to record people's speed as they go past our highway workers. We've had far too many people on our highways that have been hurt. These are people that are out there protecting us. Let's just do our part to protect them. We need them. They are Kentuckians with families just like us. So please slow down and move over. One state highway in Madison County that was closed to a mudslide is now clear, but saturated ground does make mudslides possible that will occur over the next couple of days. You can check goky.ky.gov for real-time traffic information. All right, everybody, the key here is stay safe. Because this is kind of an elongated event, our next updates are all likely to come via social media. We may cut a couple videos, but this is now in everybody's hands to stay safe these next couple days, watching how much it rains, and again, making those good decisions. Okay, today we have some special guests here with us to celebrate Donate Life Month. Could you all please come up and join me? As you all know, I believe that healthcare is a basic human right. And sadly, right now we're stopping to fight federal funding cuts. Please know that I'll keep working to ensure that Kentuckians get the health care that they need. This has never been more important, and that includes those that are in need of an organ donation. More than 100,000 Americans and more than 1,000 Kentuckians are on the organ transplant list. They're waiting for that phone call that could save their life, the call that says, you have a match. This is where you can help a neighbor in need. You can register today to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor through the National Donate Life Registry at registerme.org. You can go to a regional driver's licensing office or any circuit court clerk's office. By taking this step, you could save up to 8 lives through an organ donation, restore sight to 2 people through cornea donation, and heal more than 75 people through tissue donation. Because of this special way to give life to someone in need, I was proud to sign a proclamation recognizing April as Donate Life Month here in the Commonwealth. Joining me today are advocates of organ donation from the National Kidney Foundation, Network for Hope, Second Chance at Life, Donate Life KY, transplant surgeons from UK Healthcare and U of L Health, a living kidney donor, that is Beth, and family members of transplant recipients. So thank you all for being here. Let's take a photo with the declaration and make sure we get the word out. You can be the other governor here. Sorry. That's all right. It still counts. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here and thanks for your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you all. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to.
it. Well, hang on.
We have a Team Kentucky too. That's the transplant Olympic team.
Well, it's
And they're
amazing.
called Team Kentucky, and I brought you a
I've se-
brochure.
I think I've seen their photograph too.
You have.
Pretty incredible. Next, we have some information on a federal hiring initiative. Federal employees have dedicated their careers to supporting our American families. Their hard work has improved lives across our country and right here in the Commonwealth. Unfortunately, they're being treated unfairly by the current administration. They're being laid off despite the fact that they do good work. They're even being lied to, saying it's their fault and they're doing a bad job when they've recently been promoted and they have spotless records. Now is the time for Team Kentucky to be there for them, just like they've been there for us. So here in the Commonwealth, we're working to make it easier for displaced federal employees to find employment. We have launched a new webpage with resources for federal employees who want to find a career with the Commonwealth. The website is teamky4fedemployees.ky.gov. Here you'll find existing vacancies and opportunities to join Team Kentucky, information for veterans, and links to job skills, career counseling, and training. We also have a hotline with career counselors that are available. That number is 502-564-8030. And on April 10th from 9 a.m. to noon, we're hosting a virtual career fair to provide an opportunity for federal employees to learn about new and existing opportunities on Team Kentucky. To our federal employees, we know how much you've given to our country. Many of you all served in the armed forces before joining the federal government. And while I can't change how our federal government has treated you recently, what we can do is offer you that other opportunity at a career of service where you can help your fellow Kentuckians. Whether you live in the Commonwealth or you want to make this your new Kentucky home, Team Kentucky is here to give you options to explore. Thank you for everything you've done for our country, and at least here in Kentucky, we appreciate you. All right, today we're announcing our final winner of the new Kentucky Home giveaway. If you remember, folks could win a free 2-night stay at a Kentucky State Park by sharing positive photos on social media using the hashtag #NewKentuckyHome. See, what we're doing right now is reintroducing ourselves to the world. We're leaving the stereotypes of the past in the past, and we're telling everybody what we love about Kentucky with an invitation to join. We're showing folks that in Kentucky, the pace of business is as fast as it is anywhere, but the pace of life is just right. We're combining our economic development, tourism, and workforce training efforts all together. We're showing what we're doing in our parks and in our downtowns. We want people, when you look at Kentucky, not to just see a job that might be there or where you could move a business, but what it's like to live here. We believe where we're from is pretty special, and we want y'all to be a part. And thanks to Kentuckians who are helping us by sharing positive images on social media, we are spreading the word faster and faster. So today's winner is Skylar Dickerson, who took beautiful pictures of Lexington in spring bloom. Skylar, thank you for showing everybody what it'd be like to live there, to be able to walk around during this period of the year. And congratulations on winning a free 2-night stay at one of our 44 Kentucky State Parks. Our team will message you with the details. While the giveaway is over, we hope folks will still share their best photos. Listen, our pride in who we are and where we're from can continue this economic development momentum that we have, which is a window of opportunity unlike any I've ever seen. And we are climbing all of the ranks, top 5 in economic development per capita each of the last 5 years. But I'm telling you this initiative, just all of us unharnessing our love for place and showing people we love Kentucky and you will too, is how we take that next great step. Okay, next I'm turning it over to Dr. Stack, who's going to tell us the most recent update to our Healthy Kentucky Home.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Team Kentucky. This month, we continue our journey to a healthier Kentucky, promoting clear and attainable goals to achieve better health and wellness by eating at least 2 servings of fruits or vegetables every day, exercising at least 30 minutes 3 times per week, and engaging with others to stay socially connected. During the month of April, our Healthy Kentucky Home focuses on mental health. According to the Centers for Disease Control, nearly 1 in 4 adults reported having a mental health condition in 2023. That equates to more than 61 million Americans. Mental health is an integral component of overall health and well-being. It impacts every part of our lives, enabling us to thrive, form meaningful relationships, and contribute positively to society. Good mental health allows people to cope with life's stressors, maintain a positive self-image, have healthier relationships, improve productivity, and enhance overall quality of life. Addressing mental health is every bit as important as addressing physical health, as they are both essential elements of a healthy lifestyle. Mental health conditions such as depression increase the risk for many types of physical and chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Similarly, the presence of these chronic conditions can increase the risk of developing a mental health condition. Many factors influence our ability to thrive and experience optimal well-being, such as family and community relationships, access to opportunities, and environmental circumstances. However, by incorporating modest lifestyle changes into your daily routine, you have the power to improve your mental health and well-being at every stage of life. Adopting a healthy eating pattern is also a good way to improve your mental health. Research shows that a healthy eating pattern is associated with a reduced risk of mental health conditions. High consumption of fruits, vegetables, and nuts, moderate consumption of poultry, eggs, and dairy products, and only occasional consumption of red meat can have a lasting positive impact on your mental health. Even small dietary changes can make a big difference. Along with diet, regular physical activity is essential to improving mental health. Increasing physical activity can reduce feelings of anxiety and help you sleep better. Try starting small. Consistently including 30 minutes of moderate physical exercise at least 3 times a week is a great way to reduce your risk. It's also important to remember to stay connected with others. Engaging with others and having strong social connections is crucial to mental health. Strong social ties can help manage stress, reduce anxiety and depression, and lead to a longer, healthier life. This month, I encourage you to sit down with your family and loved ones to discuss mental health. Conversation is a powerful tool. Talking with friends, neighbors, and loved ones about feelings and concerns can relieve stress and promote resilience. For access to helpful tools and resources on how to have conversations about mental health, please be sure to visit the Our Healthy Kentucky Home website at ourhealthykYhome.ky.gov. Finally, it's okay to not be okay. It's important to remember that there is hope if you or a loved one is dealing with mental health-related distress or crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline is a resource available to you. 988 offers 24/7 access to trained counselors who can help people experiencing mental health-related distress no matter where they live. By calling or texting 988 or by visiting 988lifeline.org, you can reach a caring, trained counselor who can help you or a loved one who may need crisis support. To learn more about mental health and mental health resources or healthy habits you can incorporate into your daily routine, be sure to visit the Our Healthy Kentucky Home website at ourhealthykYhome.ky.gov. Please join us in the Our Healthy Kentucky Home journey today as we work together to ensure that every Kentuckian achieves better health and their full potential.
Hang on just a minute. Okay, so I have something to add. So Dr. Stack, thanks for staying up here. And if Secretary Eric Friedlander join us too. This may look familiar to some. Most Kentuckians know these two leaders because they helped us through a once-in-a-100-year pandemic. Together, we focused on helping our neighbors get through one of the most challenging times in our history, and we did it together. They joined me at regular press conferences to help inform our families on how to stay safe in really scary and uncertain times. COVID's long shadow touched and really continues to touch all of our lives. Despite these challenges, Kentucky, we showed our strength and our leadership. We saw our healthcare heroes and our frontline workers step up. We created what became a national model for drive-through testing, which is one of the largest logistics challenges we'd seen. Once the life-saving vaccines were available, getting them to people was the largest logistics challenge since World War II, and we met that challenge. We prioritized teachers, becoming the first state to put them in the top group to get vaccinations. And because of that, we were one of the first states to have every single school district back in person, but back in person safely. During that time, I was glad to have these two with me. Their level of service goes beyond mere professionalism. They were both living out their faith and living out their values at the highest level, selflessly serving all of our neighbors. I know that that response was just one of many ways that they have both served our Commonwealth. So thank you. And now I have to announce that Secretary Friedlander has told me his plan is to retire August 1. And after 40 years of experience leading and managing complex organizations, we all know he deserves it. He has worked day in and day out to help our Kentucky families, and we truly appreciate Secretary Friedlander. We wish Eric and Indigo, his wife, the very best. I want everybody to join me in congratulating Eric Friedlander. And there's more. Dr. Stack is going to be transitioning from his role as the Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Public Health and Chief Medical Officer for the Commonwealth of Kentucky to become CHFS Cabinet Secretary. This is a job he is more than ready for. He has shown leadership in the most difficult of times, taking on the most difficult of challenges. His knowledge and experience helped Kentucky fare far better than other states. He's already saved thousands of lives in his current role. And now we get to do what we talked about when we sat down a long time ago. And I asked him to be a part of this administration, to get people healthier, to solve some of the complicated medical and health questions in front of us, and to improve the lives of Kentuckians. Now, would you all like to say a few words? If we could start with Secretary Friedlander.
Thank you, Governor.
Very welcome. Thank you.
It has been an honor to serve. It really has. How impossible would that job that the governor just described if we didn't have a governor that actually believed in science, right? Thank you, Governor.
Because it's science.
Because it's science. If we didn't have a governor, right, that believed, and you can hear it every day when he speaks, that believes in lifting people up, not tearing people down, that believes in the importance of government service. Thank you. And believes in our state motto. It's right behind you. United we stand, divided we fall. He is the embodiment of that. And it has been an honor to serve you and the Commonwealth in that capacity. And it is so wonderful to know that turning the Cabinet for Health and Family Services over to somebody who has been such a tremendous leader, who has so much wisdom. Dr. Stack, thank you. It is such a relief to know that I'm handing that off to somebody with such good hands. And lastly, to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services employees, right? The government employees who've come under a lot of stress, right? Who've had some of their, you've seen it at the federal level, their jobs denigrated. Thank you. It has been an honor to serve you. Public service is a calling. Public service means that the people that work for all of government, and particularly I'm biased for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, right? We work to lift people up. We work to lift individuals and communities when they face challenges. We work to lift them up. Our partners, Cabinet employees, we always try to be the light when folks come across challenges. So for that, I thank you. And Governor, thank you for the opportunity to serve. It has been a tremendous honor.
Thank you, Governor and Secretary. It does feel like a long, long time ago and a world away that the three of us stood up here in our fig leaf poses behind the governor during those early press conferences. So let me begin first by thanking Secretary Friedlander. Secretary Friedlander's had around 4 decades of service to the people of the Commonwealth, the overwhelming majority, if not nearly all of them, in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. You couldn't have had someone who had more kindness, more caring, and more wisdom in leading the cabinet during particularly difficult times as we face the COVID crisis. So, Eric, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to have you as a boss. I couldn't have wished for better, and it's been a privilege to serve with you. And Governor Beshear, of course, thank you very much I have two bosses. I had a weird skip level relationship during COVID, and working directly with the governor. It is a great privilege to work with someone who supports science, supports medicine, and has always supported me in being able to be factual and straight with the people of Kentucky about what we see as our challenges and our opportunities and what we need to do better together. It does feel for me something like getting a third act in a play. I signed up to be a commissioner and got COVID. That was a bonus round of some sort. None of us expected that. Then we had a period of building and investing in public health and strengthening public health. And at this point, I'd like to say thank you to all those employees at the Department for Public Health, at the state, and to all the local health department employees. Kentuckians, we have around 4,000 people dedicated to supporting you every day in all sorts of things that we don't often talk about, but which make a tremendous impact in the quality and safety of your lives day in and day out. So thank you to all those dedicated public servants. It's been a privilege to serve alongside you and to be your commissioner these years. It feels now that we're entering a third act with all sorts of challenges coming from the federal government. And I'll save remarks on that for the future time. I'll have plenty of more time to address the people of Kentucky. Folks, public health and family services is essential to ensuring that we have healthier people and healthier communities. If we fail to invest in these services and supports to ensure that all of us have the opportunity to thrive, we will all be worse off for it. So I'll end by saying the message that we kept coming back to throughout COVID, a message that I'll hearken back to often in the years ahead, is for us all to please be kind and caring and compassionate and considerate to each other. We get a lot better and a lot further individually and certainly collectively when we treat each other with kindness, dignity, and respect. And I'm going to continue to beat that drum and remind us about how much more we can do together than we can if we divide ourselves and pit ourselves against each other. So, Secretary, thank you for your leadership, and Governor, thank you for the privilege to serve the people of Kentucky in this new role.
All right, thank you. So congratulations to Dr. Stack, and excited about the return of Stackisms. We even got a couple today. And for all of his service, Eric Friedlander's been an all-star every day, but he is this week's Team Kentucky all-star. With that, we'll open it up to questions. 2 journalists here with us and 2 virtually. We'll start with Karen Czar.
I have one for Dr. Stack and one for you. For you, how beneficial will it be that FEMA is actually already here and on the ground? And then for Dr. Stack, how intricate has the 988 crisis line been in helping Kentuckians dealing with mental health challenges since it went online?
So when this new administration was sworn in, I made a promise to everybody that when they did good things for Kentucky, I would support it. And when they did things that were bad for Kentucky, I would oppose it. Their FEMA's doing a good job for Kentucky. They're doing a good job in responding. In the East, we've had far fewer complaints. There's a lot of disaster recovery centers set up, and they did a really good job helping us through that emergency period of time, those rescues. For the first day, they brought in extra boat teams. They've already been in contact. So I've sent a request off to President Trump that he'd have to sign that activates some of their emergency response folks, and we're waiting for a return on that. I think I just sent it this morning, so it's been minutes, if not an hour or so. But this FEMA group is very responsive, very professional, and is doing a really good job. And if we have significant flooding, they will be a big advantage. Now, the people that we need aren't the people that were still here, but they were people who were here a month and a half ago. Know at least some of the terrain, but know all of our people. And the addition of the urban search and rescue, that's just the term. It's for rural too. Into our EOC has been really helpful. And we've already pre-positioned our assets that we have around the Commonwealth. The challenge is how widespread this flooding could be. I'll turn it over to Dr. Stack.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Karen. The 988 crisis line has been essential, and it's had an amazing amount of support it's been able to provide folks. We've shared numbers before. I don't have them on the spot. We can get them to you. But one of the things about the 988 crisis hotline is it's available 24/7, regardless of where you are. You can reach it by text. You can reach it by calling. And it maps you to people ideally close to you. So people who are providing services within your own community. So they know your context. They're able to hopefully plug you into resources close to where you are and resources that you can relate to. It's another example, though, of the essential partnership that has long been the federal and state government along with local service providers. So that 988 service can only exist if the federal government continues to provide support for it, and then if we in the state have those resources to provide the services. So no one should suffer in silence. No one should feel the loss of hope and feel that they don't have someone who can be there to help them in their time of need. 988 is a tremendous resource. It was long overdue when it was created, and it's something I hope we can all agree we should continue and not retreat from.
Okay. Carolina.
Governor, weather-wise, how anxious is the state about the next few days? You know, we've seen how bad flooding can get here in recent years, and the rain forecast this time it's a lot. Is there an elevated sense of concern?
There is an elevated sense of concern for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a huge amount of rain. And number two, it's a huge amount of rain in an area that doesn't always get that large of an amount of rain. And so we are trying to be as prepared as we can be. I think the first part of today started off a little bit better than originally forecasted. Tomorrow looks a little bit better, but still, when you looked at just the inches of rain that are still expected on top of what we've gotten by the end of the weekend, that is really concerning. And look at how far it goes. I mean, that's the Kentucky River, the Ohio River, the Green River, and so many others. So we're really going to have to watch this in phases. You know, we've gotten, we hope, through the main tornado threat stage. Next is our flash flooding stage with some of these storms, and then is the riverbank flooding stage. But we've been through this before. We've got great local emergency managers and leaders. I talked to Paducah's mayor, George Bray, yesterday, early in the day. He was concerned, and we talked about different things that each of us could do to get the message out, and he most certainly did that. And that's one of the reasons that while McCracken County got hit by a significant tornado, it looks like everybody in that county is okay. So very grateful for the leadership throughout the state, and it's going to take that. But the number one thing that we need to convey is people need to make good decisions. Just don't drive through the water, right? Turn back around. There's nothing that can't wait a day or two. Work wants to see you when you're safe and you can get back. So just make good decisions, and we'll get through all this together. Tom Latek on the line.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. With the surprise announcement that you made here with Secretary Friedlander and Dr. Stack, who will be choosing Dr. Stack's successor as Public Health Commissioner? Will that be you, or will it be Secretary Stack?
Well, I'd like to say these decisions are collaborative. Now we'll talk through it. Certainly, the soon-to-be Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Stack, has an opinion I've relied upon almost every day I've been governor in some of the toughest of times. Secretary Friedlander and I have had a great working relationship. I know that's going to continue. And Dr. Stack and I have always, I feel like, been able to come to decisions that take a little of his experience and a little of my experience, and typically gets us to the best place that we can be. Very excited. He said yes to this. You know, he's in demand. There's a lot of different groups or folks out there that would love to have him leading their organization, but really blessed he's sticking with this administration. And remember, he is one of the only commissioners of public health that served during that incredibly difficult pandemic that's still here. Now, every single one of them was dedicated. So I don't say that to denigrate anybody else in this country who went through a very difficult time and took abuse near the end of it while doing it. They all paid their dues and have the right to go anywhere else and should be celebrated. But the fact that Dr. Stack is still here is just an amazing statement and example of service that's pretty special. And I know he's going to do great things, at least these next 2.5 years. And anybody after me would be lucky to keep him. Liam Niemeyer.
Hi, Governor. I had 2 questions just on 2 different topics here. One, I wanted to ask just about, I know that there's, ongoing federal lawsuits about funding freezes, and the city of Dawson Springs and Hopkins County has been worried about, what they say is frozen funds for operating expenses that they're relying on through a FEMA loan. I was wondering what your administration was aware about the status of trying to work to release the funds for Dawson Springs. And just, if you could speak for general efforts that your administration is doing to, working on any other funding freezes that you're aware of for FEMA and disaster-related funding in particular. The second question I had was related to House Bill 695. One of the bills that you said didn't have an appropriation to implement. I was wondering if your administration, regardless of the appropriation, still plan to work with the newly created Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board, if you're aware of that in the bill. Thank you.
Yeah, we're certainly going to work with the new oversight board. That was actually in two separate bills, and that's not the appropriation challenge that is in that statute. But let me say, for each of the statutes that needed an appropriation, what we're doing is looking through them, really drilling down on them. Some of them are costs that were anticipated after a change, and that's a little bit different than an upfront appropriation that'd be required. Some of them take place a little bit later, which may give us the time to do some of the groundwork that would be required for them. For instance, if it's building a new system or registry, going out, because we normally get outside groups to do that, then doing the RFP. And if there's no money appropriated, there probably won't be a lot of responses to that RFP. But what we can do is get a set cost that one of those groups would charge as we see what it would take, the months that we'd put in, and potentially be able to go to the General Assembly with something very specific on how that's done. But let me say, I welcome the General Assembly learning more about Medicaid. The General Assembly has expanded Medicaid every session that I've been governor. They're worried about costs, but they've added services, and I've been supportive of it, that have added costs. They've been an active part of what they're now saying they want to look at, and understanding that more. I'm fully in favor of. What I'll say is it's incredibly complicated, and it can't be run day to day by the General Assembly. And some of the things that they've passed are going to get in the way of what need to be day-to-day decisions. A federal law changes, a regulation comes in. And what the General Assembly is basically saying is we have to do all of this, or most all of it, through statute. Well, the General Assembly doesn't exist for 7 or 8 months of the year under the law. And running Medicaid is an executive branch function. So I look forward to them learning more about how it operates, but learning how the executive branch needs to operate it for it to go smoothly. And let me just finally say on Medicaid, it covers the people we love the most, our parents and our kids. 50% of Kentucky's kids are covered by Medicaid. 70% of our long-term care costs are covered by Medicaid, and the threats the federal government is making on Medicaid would be disastrous. They would harm the coverage for our families, and they would close most all of our rural hospital systems. So if you live in rural Kentucky, whether you're covered by private insurance or Medicaid, you're going to drive several hours, probably to see the same doctor who had to leave a community they loved because their hospital or clinic were shut down because of what the federal government is looking at doing. And the different plans you hear out there, they say, oh no, we're not going to cut it. We're just going to give a smaller block of money to the states. That's a cut. That's less money that then you try to blame the states for making cuts. Come on, folks, we know what that is. And or they say, we're just going to pay a certain amount per individual, but that's lower than what they are currently paying right now. Or the things I worry about FEMA and some other areas, they cut their staff that does a lot of the work, and then they make us do the overhead out of the money they send us. And so there's less money for medical care. We should want to get people healthier, not less healthy. And the federal government, I tell you, if they make drastic cuts to Medicaid, the people of America will respond. I've seen some data on it. People understand Medicaid and that it covers the people they love in their family. Up to the federal lawsuits, FEMA is right now claiming that they are not freezing payments. They are adding extra steps in how they evaluate payments. Now, these are payments under contracts that we have that are created through statutory programs. So this is money that is owed. We've got about $5 million right now plus that is over the normal time period that the reimbursement happens. FEMA is saying that they're going to get that money moving. I believe what we're hearing is the money that Dawson Springs needs is going to move. But again, we can't keep setting up these excuses for delaying dollars that are owed under written agreements. That's more than a promise. That's a contract. And all of us have to live up to a contract. So does the federal government. And not just are they contracts. Typically, Congress has passed a law saying you shall do this. And then they've put money in. They say you shall use this money to do this. And the Trump administration is saying, I don't think we're going to do it. Well, that's not legal. It's unlawful. And it's the reason that I joined a number of AGs and my fellow governor, Josh Shapiro, in suing over the attempted cuts to public health funds. You know, they're trying to claim that these were just COVID funds. No, they were passed in bills that were related to COVID. But you heard what I said. They were passed in bills. They became laws. These programs are written laws, just like anything else out there. And money was appropriated for them that Congress has not taken back. Congress has passed new laws that takes back some money. This money, which is about $130 or $140 million in Kentucky, has not been withdrawn by Congress. It is owed to Kentucky through federal law. It's owed to Kentucky through contracts, and I'm not going to let someone try to violate that obligation they have with us. Now, what they want to claim is it's for cause. Well, for cause would mean that we did something wrong as a state, but their cause is, well, COVID is over. That's not cause under the law. That is a made up cause that no judge is going to accept. And so if I sound a little fired up about it, it's because this is very clearly unlawful. And these dollars go to public health. They go to us being able to track disease. They go to us being able to prevent a future pandemic. And folks, we've really only been out of it about 2.5 years. Does anyone want to have to go through it again? I mean, look at the cuts they're trying to make at the CDC and at other places while the bird flu is concerning. I mean, we've got to be smart about health in the United States of America, because when we're not, we lose people that we love. So I'm going to keep fighting for the people of Kentucky. I'm going to keep doing what's right, and I'm going to keep making sure that the dollars that are owed to us that we can then take and do good things with, that people keep their word and that they keep their contract. All right. There is no scheduled Team Kentucky update next week, so we'll see you 2 weeks from today. Thank y'all.